Hello and welcome everyone, it is me the Laval, also known as the Power to Do List, back for you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about a new product that has straight up just released. The two-player starter set is out now for the TCG. I'm going to open this up, flip through both decks, and then kind of give my thoughts on this product as a whole, because of course, just like with many things that happen in the Yu-Gi-Oh space, the community is very divided on this one, and I kind of wanted to give this like an honest review. So let's, open this bad boy up and then kind of, talk about my thoughts about this product exactly. But before that, let's of course see what is in it. So if we open up the box here, now we have it. We of course have the comic book guide with the scripted duel in it that you can follow. This is kind of, I guess, a glorified tutorial, kind of walking you through a game that is played with these two decks, which is why these have a reminder on the background that you should not shuffle these. But in a worst case, you can just like resort these, I guess, according to the numbers. Which is, of course, a nice part. So if you, went through the scripted duel once, you can just reorder these in, the numbered order on the cards, and then just kind of start over again, which is kind of cute. And having, a booklet that kind of explains the interactions and also what, you should be doing in that specific moment. It's kind of, but yeah, let's thumb through these real quick. We'll start with the Xyz one. Because I am very much a synchro kind of guy, so we'll save the best for last, I guess you could say. We have a Divine Arsenal, double a Zeus, a Castel, the Sky Blaster, Musketeer. We have a Giga Brilliant, a Daigasto Emerald, and then getting into the deck we have a Fierce Tiger Monghu, a Magical Broker, a Star Drawing, a Night Beam, which is a pretty good card on all things considered. A Add Traffic Control. This is quite something. This prevents your opponent from attacking when they control 3 or more monsters. We have a Star Changer, a Gargaga Magician, a Fighting Spirit, a Burden of the Mighty, a Beast King Boros, a Swinger Memories, a Gyroid, a Dark Factory of Mass Production, a Gravity X Growl, a Needle Sealing Book of Moon MST. Actually, like, decent cards, to be honest. Penguin Soldier, a Magician of Faith, another classic, for those old heads. Chiron the Mage, a Dark Magician Girl, an Xyz Reborn, a Crane, a Skill Successor, an Eldritch the Golden Lord. This is so surreal to see in common, to be honest. Like, common charity players are probably not feeling that one too much. We got a Cyber Dragon, a Call of the Haunted, a Cost Down, a Thousand Knives, a White Ninja, a Draining Shield, a No Entry, a Trade-In, and then we got the Vanillas, the one that a lot of people got very worked up about. We got a Sword Stalker, a yellow, a Ojama Yellow, Dark Magician, the one man, the myth himself, a Rabbit Dragon, Mystical Genie of the Lamp, and we got a Giant Saucer of Swan and a Queen's Knight. Overall, very simple cards, as you can probably tell. Not a whole lot of like fancy stuff in here, except like, of course, the extra deck pieces. Seeing Castel, Daigasto, Emerald, and Zeusness. Actually pretty good reprints. But before, we get into that, let's take a look at the Synchro one. And then let's see what we have here. We have a Vanadium Primard with some energy blades and a special defensive ability. Good card. A Rampaging Smash Tank Rhino Saber. We have a Coral Dragon, a good reprint, to be honest. Very, very competent level 6 Synchro. A Stygian Sergeants. We have a Back to the Front, a Vanadium Fearless. Funny enough, we get 2 of these, which is kind of cool. A Galaxy Cyclone, a Supply Squad, a Phantom King Hydrite, a Liberty at Last, White Elephant's Gift, a Power Frame, a Dark Resonator, a Cobalt Hedgehog, a Card Trooper, another very classic card similar to Mobius here, the Frost Monarch, Mage Power, Magic Cylinder, Mask of the Accursed, Kuna with Chain, a Dark Hole, good reprint, to be honest, a Mask of Darkness, a Fissure, a Barrier Resonator, another Fearless as mentioned, and then we have the man himself, Visas Starfrost over here. Also another card that's similar to Eldritch, just like very surreal to see in like common rarity. A Obsessive Overloop, a DD Crow, neat reprint. one-time passcode, the warrior returning alive, a Katkadi, a scapegoat, a storming mirror force, a apprentice piper, a backup rider, a sword of revealing light, and then we have the vanillas for this one, which is an ally of justice clauseless, a Gilgarth, a Ojama green, a Rioran, a launcher spider, favorite vanilla by the way, love that this is in here. A Spirit of the Harp, an Ampache, and an Elemental Hero Sparkman. And once again, the reminder card at the back that you should not be shuffling this. Overall, in testing these, if you weren't like playing the scripted duel, these felt kind of evenly matched. Yu-Gi-Oh reference for the ones that know. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how these perform in the scripted duel. And yeah, with the opening out of the way, I'd like to kind of give my thoughts on this. In the background of this, you will see me and my brother going through the scripted duel that is included in this deck, kind of in this comic book form. We've sat there for quite a while. The scripted duel does take a bit. I'd say you should plan like a solid 30 minutes to even up to an hour if you're actually, you know, reading through everything. And if you want to make sure that you like get everything down. But yeah, with all that, I do have some notes. I'll go over these points, and I'll kind of start with a couple of negatives that I have, although those mainly apply to like the constructed environment of, like the not scripted environment of this. I think the Xyz deck has some fairly conditional cards. I think, you know, DM, DMG, and like Dark Magician Girl, and the 1,000 Knives especially. I like cool nostalgia bait. I get that some of this has to be in here. But if you do, either just include the Dark Magician, or like a Blue Eyes, or, you know, a card like Cyber Dragon that is like on the one hand nostalgic for a lot of people, but also does something. But, you know, the combination of Dark Magician Girl, and 1,000 Knives in the Xyz deck does make it slightly bricky in the scripted duel. Sometimes you will open, you know, one of these, but the one of these just, you know, doesn't do a whole lot without the others. And Dark Magician by itself is like only fine for, you know, the purposes of this format. On the topic of this format, Zeus kind of breaks it. As much as I like these decks, and also, you know, the way they interact with each other, because I think they are fairly evenly matched. Yu-Gi-Oh reference, by the way. Zeus kind of breaks the constructed version of this format. I did play a couple games with a friend today earlier where we, you know, just took these, shuffled these up, and played. And in general, if the Xyz deck got to stick a Zeus, especially early on in the game was usually just like kind of doomed from the start. The Synchro deck has very few answers to a Zeus. And finding those in, you know, the space of time that a Zeus on the board gives you is not the easiest thing. So yeah, that's kind of my complaints with this. But, you know, as mentioned, these mainly apply to, you know, the non-scripted version of the non-scripted environment of play for these two decks. Otherwise, I think these are very much fine. Good even. Which, you know, let's move on to the good. I think the scripted duel is great. I think this is so nice. It walks new players through a lot of the basics of this game, very much step by step, and explains everything when it comes up. Kind of like a tutorial in other games would walk you through every individual part of that game. Like most, I think, first-person shooter tutorials, for you know, thinking of that, about that, will start you off with, you know, looking around, how you move your character, you know, WSD, crouching, sprinting, and all that. Move on to gunplay, how you maybe swap from like primary to secondary weapons, and everything, taking everything, you know, one step at a time in different sections. I think the scripted duel does that as well, and in a good manner. The pacing of this is good. Sometimes often you will, you know, run into a moment where you draw a card and the book tells you, you know, hey, you could be doing this, for example, right now. So kind of explaining the uses of the card, but says, hold on, now is not the time to use that, in kind of a Professor Oak manner, telling you not to ride your bike indoors, or not, you know, just activate cards because you can. But it does, you know, explain what the cards could do in that situation. It just tells you to, you know, maybe save it for a different turn, which of course, in actual play you can, not, of course, not abide by that and just kind of, go wild, see how things work. But I think it's great that the comic kind of, talks about both ways, and also, kind of ramps up, the decks do get to show off some bigger and cooler plays as the duel goes on, kind of finishing in that, big face off towards the end between, Zeus and Vanadium Prime Heart, which is incredible, just really incredible. I think it's very well paced. On the topic of the cards, those are also, I think, a great selection. Fairly simple overall. We have stuff like, Magic Cylinder, Draining Shield, a couple vanillas in there, stuff like Cyber Dragon, stuff like that has maybe one or two effects. But having, some more powerful individual cards in there, like I think Eldritch and Visas keeps this interesting and not, just like flipping trap holes, summoning vanillas. It kind of spices things up a bit, and kind of shows that, of course, keeps the basics in mind and kind of walks you through those, but also shows you that cards in this game do a lot and can do a lot and be very impactful even by themselves, which is, I think, a very good thing in terms of, bridging kind of the gap between this and also, the modern game, which I think makes Visas and Eldritch, respectively, good inclusion. I think both have like fairly simplistic effects, both have, a special summoning condition and then, a utility effect attached to them. Eldritch, being just removal, and Visas gaining a bit of attack, which funnily enough, I only like learned about this effect of Visas because of the scripted duel. Yu-Gi-Oh! Players and reading, am I right? But I think keeping these like couple of modern cards in there is like another good bridge. Visas and Friends and Eldritch, for like people that, have played these decks a bit, and, because Visas and Eldritch will be, very central cards for these decks, and come up quite a bit, especially if you're shuffling these decks, and playing them, might maybe, gravitate towards strategies based around, Visas and Eldritch, look up what can I do with that. I could see this being, a thing that happens, and also just like a very good bridge, as mentioned, between these products and, the modern game. So yeah, if it wasn't like painfully obvious by now, I think these are just an absolutely great product for, beginners. They do a good job at teaching you the basics, walking you through everything at like a reasonable pace. Even my brother, after I asked him after the duel, what did you think of this? I thought it was cool, because it's, very step by step, and just goes through everything one action at a time, which is very nice because there's a lot of about this deck to about this game to learn. There's a lot of mechanics and a lot of intricacies, and having something that definitely has potential, but also is able to take things slow is very good. Like, yes, as mentioned earlier, the kind of constructed environment of this, or like just shuffling these up and playing, is not perfect. It's very much designed around the scripted duel, but I think it's great that you can at least run through that multiple times until you're feeling up to the task of shuffling these up and getting into an actual game. The card choices make a lot of sense. And even if most of the outrage regarding this product is around this not being the thing that prints like X amount of staples, I think it is good that you have a good selection of cards here that cover a wide variety of like archetypes of cards. There's even a hand trap in here in DD Crow, for example. There's like some of the monster mechanics in here, walking you through those. And even if this isn't like the craziest treasure trove of crazy reprints, having cards like Visas and Eldritch for their respective archetypes, DD Crow, MST Darkhold, and Zeus, for example, or even Coral Dragon, in here is great. Just a good starting line for someone who might be looking to build up like a staple lineup if they want to get deeper into the game. But generally, I could see like potential follow-up product for this, and I hope Konami follows up on this, because I think it is a good product that does help new players a lot. I could see like a follow-up product being like a fusion deck versus like a Pendulum and Link deck, because Pendulum and Link just go very well together because those mechanics are directly connected by how they work. But yeah, overall, I think if if you're one of two people, that being someone that has very limited to no prior knowledge or experience with the game, or you are looking to teach a friend that is in that position, this is absolutely it. I think this is a great product for beginners, which is, I think, the important part to remember with this. And I think if you are able to keep that in mind when judging this product, I think it's good. Yes, you can say, oh, this, is very much an oversimplification, but I think that's fine. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a very complicated game. It has a lot of different and difficult mechanics that you will need to learn to get like a full hold of this deck, this game. And I think having this very slow start in a like very well curated environment does make the entry into it all a lot easier. But with all that out of the way, I would like to hear your thoughts. Let me know down below what you think of this product as a whole, and maybe if you're like a new player or like someone who has gotten a new player into the game with this, what were your experiences? I think this is something very important to maybe kind of note, as this, since this is going into, the entire internet, I guess, something for other, people that might be on, the kind of the maybe a bit indecisive if this is, the right thing to buy. Maybe, leave your recommendations down below. But with all that out of the way, I will thank you guys very much for watching. I hope this was a helpful video, especially for, the new players that might be getting into the game off of this product. So yeah, I'll thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you guys again next time. But until then, goodbye.